معمر القذافي.
They killed Osama bin Laden.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
The only agency in the federal government that's responsible for the safety and well-being of people not only here on Earth, but off this planet. Think about the natural disasters that could occur in your area. Think about attacks that could come like 9/11 from outside forces, and talk to your family about your work and what they need to do to prepare for the unforeseen. You know what it is that you're going to do, know what it is that you want your family to do if an emergency arises. But most of all, be prepared.
It's 9 o'clock and it's still all yellow.
What's going on here, but you can see the horizon is just this brilliant shade of yellow. That's making everything yellow. This yellow tint to everything. And it is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
Look at this. Yeah, what do you think that is? Bizarre. Yeah, but it looks like aliens.
It's not closing up.
But, I mean, I've never seen anything like that. Is there anything in that direction?
No.
So the sun's over there.
A crisis of leadership. We've been talking about this all week. But what if there was some sort of outer space crisis? An alien invasion sounds crazy, perhaps, but then who thought we'd ever see the stock market swing 5% a day all week long? So maybe it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. If aliens invaded, who would step up to lead us in that fight, and could we even win?
Well, the Kepler satellite currently orbiting in outer space has identified about 50 planets that seem very much Earth-like. In fact, every week we discover another Jupiter-sized planet in outer space. But a few of them may have intelligent life, perhaps even more advanced than what we have on Earth.
Now, so how does this actually work? When Discovery decided they were going to do a show on alien invasions, your phone rings because you're on the sort of speed dial for theoretical physicists who can help them do the war game for how this might play out?
Well, believe it or not, we physicists have actually studied the question of what happens if we do encounter a hostile advanced civilization in space. Either the aliens don't bother with us because we're simply too primitive, or if they do invade, it'll be more like Bambi versus Godzilla. The fact that they could be 1,000, 1,000,000 years more advanced than us. However, if, on the other hand, one day they do attack, we have to be prepared for the fact that they're going to overwhelm us in the opening shots of a war.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat.
Fukushima plants say the ground under the facility is cracking and radioactive steam is escaping through the cracks.
All of us have a piece of Chernobyl in our bodies. Realize that we could take Geiger counters, scintillation counters, and actually see that radiation from Chernobyl has been incorporated into our flesh and tissue.
And that will be the same with Fukushima.
That's right. In fact, the whole world will be exposed to the radiation from Fukushima. It means that the radiation went over the Pacific Ocean, sailed over the United States, and it is now circulating around the entire Earth.
So we're already getting it.
We are already getting radiation from Fukushima.
No doubt you felt it yourself.
Certainly did, Jeremy. Yes, you really wonder what's going to happen next this year. It's an eerie feeling standing on top of the Sky News building here in Washington with sirens howling around us. The streets are full of people evacuated from buildings.
A rather odd place to have a large earthquake. It's pretty obvious now that we are experiencing a large earthquake uptick when you look at what occurred in Colorado with the 5.3 and the 4.7s and the 3s, and then if you just look over the last 14 days, look at this. It's an insane number of earthquakes, and when you really start to see the number of 5.0s, 6.0s, you had the 7.0 swarm that occurred over here on the western side of the Pacific. When I look at all around this and I see this swarm of earthquakes, this lets me know that the earthquake uptick is continuing, and it's continuing unabated. We don't know what's causing it yet, so we're really kind of left wondering.
Well, a strange sighting off the coast of Flagler County. Calls from witnesses flooded into the police station after people reported seeing this ball of light.
A giant flame like the one in this picture has Flagler Beach buzzing. The problem is no one can identify it. Some witnesses think it was a plane, but according to the FAA, there were none on radar at the time. Others watched from this deck at Finn's restaurant when the object struck the ocean.
It was quite a sight over the skies of Beijing on Thursday. A mysterious bubble cloud of sorts caught the attention of many in the city.
A mysteriously huge bubble cloud over the skies of Beijing and surrounding areas Thursday. When the observation team set their instruments at the bubble, it gradually became bigger and thinner. The entire occurrence lasted for less than 15 minutes. Observers took pictures of the whole process and posted them online. In less than one day, more than 100 comments were posted about the unusual phenomenon.
Hey guys, look, the aliens are coming.
Look, my dude, we're live on 174. You can see we out here. Look, me and the homie, shit is real.
What the hell? The alien invasion? I have no idea what is that.
Note that today is the day before the hurricane's supposed to come.
But we do have to plan for the day that maybe a few of them could be hostile.
That shit crazy, that shit bananas. You never seen nothing like this in our life.
A monstrous Hurricane Irene tightened its aim on the eastern seaboard, threatening 65 million people along a shore-hugging path from North Carolina to New England. The strongest to strike the East Coast in 7 years.
And to make those findings public. Some people might wonder why even bother. Wouldn't it seem pointless? And certainly it is if you don't believe in UAP or UFOs. In that case, it's like asking the government to investigate a make-believe phenomenon and just waste our money. If you already know the truth, why spend money reaffirming the obvious? Even some people who believe in the phenomenon might think it's pointless. For many decades, there have been researchers and activists who have gotten nothing other than silence and denial from the government. Why should it be any different now? And actually, the White House recently replied to a petition by Stephen Bassett of Paradigm Research Group and said that there is no evidence of genuine UFOs nor any credible information to suggest a cover-up. Now, if you ask me, there's one and only one way a person can say that. And that's by doing absolutely no inquiry at all. So when a military report describing UAP lands on your desk or appears on your screen, shut your eyes. When a credible witness describes something that should be impossible but isn't, you just cover your ears and whistle a merry tune. Now, to be fair, it's hard to imagine what else the White House could have said. Can you imagine the reaction that might occur from even a hint that there is something to UFOs? See, the White House, the Pentagon, the intelligence community, they cannot ever voluntarily acknowledge the reality of this persistent, troubling phenomenon. And it's troubling, all right. There have been enough confirmed military reports over the decades describing how unknown objects have been able to invade restricted airspace with impunity, easily evade jet interceptors, disable electronic systems of our top aircraft, demonstrate interest in nuclear sites, and having the ability to disable nuclear weapons. Whatever they've got, it's some serious capabilities. Maybe they're wonderful creatures, maybe not, but it's easy to see the reasons for secrecy. But here's the thing. Government is one thing, the people are another. And the people, that means you, have a right to the truth. Governments never act in the interests of ordinary people until ordinary people force them to. That's always been the case. That's always been our job. And by the way, finding that truth will not be easy, not for us and not for the White House. There's been a world of secrecy that has developed around UFOs, buried behind layers and layers of classification. It doesn't even seem that our highest elected officials have access to it. The powerful Senator Barry Goldwater was once cussed out by his friend General Curtis LeMay just for making one inquiry. I once learned from a very high-level intelligence source that President Jimmy Carter was brought to tears over whatever it was that he was told. Even President Bill Clinton tried to move this issue forward, but had to admit defeat. Who is in control? Don't you think you have a right to know? Maybe even a need to know? Governments always have to be reminded that the people are their boss, not the other way around. Truth is often unpleasant. Truth can turn our world upside down. But ask yourself, what kind of world do you want? A world built on lies? Or one in which government of, by, and for the people still lives and breathes, still responds, still inspires? In other words, a world in which truth has a fighting chance.